Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be talking about Crystal Beetle, the Dream Realm boss, because on the Pioneer server he has come out as a Dream Realm boss, and for our new rotation of 8 Dream Realm bosses when the new season begins, he will be one of them. And so we'll talk through his skills, which are pretty much identical to when he was a Primal Lord, and I'm going to go through the top performing teams that we have had up to this point in the Primal Lord to give you an idea of what teams you can try on day 1 when he comes out in the new season. Okay, and as you can tell, this was shared by AFK Analytica. I'll leave a link to their Discord server in the description of this video. So the Crystal Beetle is a magic mage damage dealer with a range of 3, a mysterious beetle dwelling in a magical land, capable of conjuring magical mists and protecting itself with illusions. The ultimate ability of Crystal Beetle would have him fly into the sky, becoming invincible while hurling a magic projectile at each enemy, dealing 100% attack damage to the target and to adjacent targets. So this was one reason why in your teams for Crystal Beetle you would want to spread out your lineup of heroes a bit so that there wouldn't be as many adjacent allies to take the splash damage. Looking at Phantom skills though, this was really the major skill the Crystal Beetle had. Cast a spell that enhances the skills on the wings and back at 10, 30, 50, and 70 seconds into a battle, increasing its dodge chance by 100% for 15 seconds. So starting from 10 seconds into the battle, every 20 seconds, the boss is going to cast this ability, which will cause his dodge chance to be massively increased for 15 seconds. And because of this, heroes which normally would be doing well in Dream Realm bosses didn't do as well here. For example, OD Merrily, the long range damage dealers were not doing nearly as well as, for example, KORIN. KORIN was the best damage dealer option for pretty much every team in the Primal Lord, and I don't know exactly why that is the case, but one thing in KORIN's skill kit is that he's guaranteed to land a critical hit. That is one of the skills that if the enemy is more than 1 tile beyond him, which it will be because KORIN has a range of 2. I don't know whether that means that his attacks are undodgeable or not, but either way, he was the hardest hitting damage dealer for the Dream Realm boss, and so he was the go-to option, and in a lot of the teams that we're going to show right now, they're going to be involving KORIN. However, there have been people who have started the game more recently who have had Lily May available during the Primal Lord, and people have replaced KORIN with Lily May as a damage dealer and got around about the same damage score or maybe even a little bit higher. So Lily May is also a viable damage dealer for Crystal Beetle as of right now, so that's also something. If you have Lily May built up, you can expect her to do pretty well as well. So then you have Earthbound Thrust. Summons 3 tile wide spike that extends forward, dealing 60% attack damage to enemies hit. If enemies lose HP from this damage, they will also be knocked into the air and stunned for 2 seconds. So this was like is like Orson, who we reviewed his skills yesterday. Another Dream Realm boss which will be added, a new Dream Realm boss. So this is why you want to position your team in such a way that this spike is going to be targeting and going after the heroes which do not really mind getting knocked up, and also you will want to have shielders. And so Coco is like at Mythic Plus, she provides shielding, and that can prevent your team from losing health, and then the knockup is not going to trigger if your health is not lost. So if the shield tanks the damage, you will not be knocked into the air, even if the spike is going after that area of your team. So that is the reason why shielding was so important. And if you don't have Coco at Mythic Plus, you could even use Lucius in here, or you could even use Lucius and Coco together. For example, if you had more limited options, that was a reason why they were really good options for this Dream Realm boss. However, one thing to keep in mind is as of right now in the Pioneer server, there are no seasonal skills on any heroes. It might be that heroes will not have seasonal skills in this new season, and there will only be faction talents, and the faction talents do not apply to Dream Realm bosses. So it could be that Lucius will be weaker, because previously Lucius was great for Dream Realm because he gave the damage and haste buff, which now as of right now he will not be providing. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, definitely you would want to arrange your team in a way, and that is how we're going to show you all the team arrangements we have arranged their team in a way that your Smokey is not going to be hit by this knockup, because that is the most devastating for your team because it will interrupt his aura casting, and he takes some time to then recast his aura. Okay, and then finally Enchanted Mist, we'll just move over to this. Spreads an enchanted mist across the battlefield, fueling the magic obsession of those within, increasing the haste of allies and enemies within the mist by 30, which boosts their attack speed by 30%, and also 30% faster skill casting, and their magic damage by 150%. Allies and enemies also recover 50 energy per second while in the mist. So from this ability, everyone thought that the magic damage dealers would be the best, like Odie for example, but Odie's damage output is really bad in the Crystal Beetle, and it must be related to his dodge mechanics, because even here magic damage is boosted, but for example, KORIN doesn't have magic damage, and he was still the top performing damage dealer in this boss. But Lily May now is kind of rivaling KORIN as a damage dealer for this boss, but still, you would expect if you get this damage buff of magic damage, Lily May already was a higher, harder hitting damage dealer than KORIN. You would think Lily May would like way outshine KORIN, but they're kind of dealing around the same amount of damage. So whether you have KORIN at Mythic Plus or Lily May at Mythic Plus, both are going to be pretty good options for you in this Dream Realm boss. Okay, now let's take a look at some teams. So recently, All Grey Gamer, because he started the game a little bit later on his server, he's been able to use Lily May against the Crystal Beetle as a Primal Lord, and he got, as you can tell, just almost around about the same score. With KORIN, he got 29.8 billion, and with Lily May, 29.9 billion. Almost not even a noticeable difference between the two of them, but it shows you that Lily May can replace KORIN if, for example, you don't have a KORIN built up, but if you don't have Lily May, then definitely KORIN is a great damage dealer option for Crystal Beetle. So as of right now, Lily May and KORIN seem to be the top two damage dealers, along with maybe a Scarlita if you have her. But one thing to keep in mind, okay, I'm going to show you the positioning of these teams. So this was the positioning of the team. You have Smokey on the far left, because this will guarantee that the knockup will never land onto the Smokey. You have Rainier for increasing the damage the boss receives, and Rainier will be buffing up either Lily May or KORIN depending on which damage dealer you're using. Coco is really important here, and Coco is here with you have the illusion of Freyaster in front of the Coco, so Coco has damage reduction, so that she can survive better. Maybe for the Dream Realm boss, it would be better to give Coco the energy, but I think it also is about the timing, because you want Coco's shield to be active during the knockup of when the boss goes for his knockup skill, so that you can tank that damage. And so the timing will depend on whether you want to have bonus energy on the Coco or the damage reduction. And but yeah, this was basically the Dream meta team, and this was the top performing team currently available. Now I don't know, because now that Mikola is also available in the game, it might even be that Mikola will be a great option to be run. However, I don't think Smokey will be replaced, and of course you'll need a damage dealer like KORIN, and Coco is really important for providing that shielding and the protection for your team. So I don't know who would be replaced for Mikola, but definitely I could foresee potentially Mikola being the greatest option. Now, if you don't have Freyasto, for example, I'm going to show you some other team lineups which a lot of people ran, and the team that I specifically ran, because I didn't have Freyasto at that point in time, and so I'm going to now jump over to the actual game. Okay guys, so the team that I ran was a team like this. We had Scarlita, Smokey, Coco was here. And by the way, Evocation Spell is the artifact of choice for the Crystal Beetle and most Dream Realm bosses in general. If you're unsure about it, Evocation, you can't go wrong with that. And finally, it was Thorin and KORIN. So the idea behind the team and also the positioning is that Thorin will run up on the side, and then the Crystal Beetle will begin attacking your Thorin and KORIN, who are grouped up over here, and his knockup is only going to go off on those two, and potentially also the Scarlita when she descends as well. But then the Smokey is protected, not going to be knocked up. Smokey is going to be in a central position, so his aura will reach and damage the Crystal Beetle boss, because that boss had a bigger range around him. But basically you want the hitbox of the boss to be 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles away from the Smokey, because his blue aura will reach up to 4 tiles. You have Coco, of course, here to provide the shielding and the damage reduction for your team. Scarlita was for damage, and also her seasonal skill. So now the fact that seasonal skills may be removed, Scarlita may not be the greatest option anymore for these Dream Realm bosses. And as you can tell in this team, Rainier wasn't even being used. And so, for example, if you don't have Scarlita and you wanted to use a team with Rainier, this would be your next best option, which would be a team something, or I think actually, again, it would be something like this. You didn't want the Smokey to be right in the central position, especially with the Thorin running up there too, because then he's more prone to getting hit with the knockup. This was a team which was the best option if you didn't have Scarlita, and of course if you didn't have Freyester as well, then this was another good team option to run. And yeah, so these were basically the 3 key teams. If you didn't even have Rainier, then Lucius was the next best option. But yeah, these were basically the teams which people tried, or it could even be something like that. These are the teams to try. So overall, for what you can expect for the Crystal Beetle, as of right now, the skills are almost identical to the Primal Lord when he came out. So I think top damage dealers are going to be KORIN and Lilymay. Smokey will never be replaced because the damage he deals as well as the attack and haste buff, you cannot pass up on that. And even if Makola is also going to be used, it will be used alongside Smokey in my opinion, or just not use it at all. Coco, I think, will be a must-have for the shielding to prevent the knockup and also the protection for your team, because the boss did a lot of damage. And right now in Lone Gate or like Alpha Bear, Coco is still a key option to be running because the boss deals a lot of damage. So Coco potentially will still be a key option. Thorin is used if you don't have Freyester, for example, and Thorin is good because he increases the damage the boss receives. And of course Rainier is also a good option if you don't have the, well, Rainier is good actually, yeah, unless you have Scarlita. Then that Scarlita team I showed you wasn't involving Rainier, that was the team I ran. But I'm expecting that will not be the optimal team anymore now that the seasonal skill of Scarlita is gone. Because that seasonal skill made a big difference, the haste buff and damage bonus buff for the duration of the fight. So anyway guys, hopefully this gave you a pretty good idea of what to expect for the Crystal Beetle boss, but just know that he will be in the rotation of the 8 Dreamon bosses. The other ones are going to be the original 4, Snow Stomper, Skyclops, King Croaker, and Necrodraken. Then there will be the Lone Gaze Alpha Bear from Song of Strife season, and then the 2 new will be Crystal Beetle and Orison from, yeah, for the new Waves of Intrigue season, and that will be the rotation of 8 bosses. And Orison specifically, I think Lenya is going to be the key damage dealer because you need to provide the continuous interruption effects to reduce his fury stacks. And Lenya is the best at doing that, as well as contributing a lot of damage to Dream Realm bosses. But anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the Crystal Beetle boss, or if you have any other ideas for teams. And if you want to just replace KORIN with Lilymay, you can replace Lilymay for KORIN in any of these teams, and they'll probably do pretty similar, because we saw that when All Great Gamer replaced Lilymay in the optimal team for KORIN, he got a little bit of a higher damage output, almost tying the KORIN output. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video, and until then everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.